recognizing that realism of where the company is and what is the customer really looking for, and constantly bridging that gap.
People who work 10, 20 years, and then, the ones who actually made it to the C-suite. What did you see in a large company like that?
Actually, very similar. Again, relentless. Every person that moved up through the ranks, probably the greatest CEO I ever had the pleasure of interacting with is a gentleman by the name of Bob Stevens. Bob was the CEO of Lockheed Martin for years, and I worked very closely with him. The thing that got Bob the C-suite is Lockheed merged with a company called Martin Marietta. So the two companies kind of merged together years ago. And I'm talking about early 2000s, I think. And so late 90s. So anyway, long story short, they were going through, Martin Marietta culture was a very financially driven culture. Lockheed culture was a very swashbuckling culture. You think back, Skunk Works, SR-71, space, all of that kind of stuff. And Lockheed would basically take risks and launch rockets, and every once in a while rockets would blow up. And, there was not a fiscally driven mentality. And so the company was really struggling with, cash flow and flirting with bankruptcy and government bailouts and all of the other stuff. And Bob was very ruthless in recognizing his customer was the government. They were not going to bail him out. What they wanted was predictability. What they wanted was a level of consistency. And he went through the process at multiple levels of starting to remake the company on a much more fiscally sound basis, where they basically took calculated risks as opposed to a little bit of the cowboy type, Hail Mary, go for it type risk. And he was recognized for it. And over the years, he became CEO, probably one of the most successful CEOs in Lockheed Martin history. And so again, the main point is always recognizing that realism of where the company is and what is the customer really looking for, and constantly bridging that gap. And this is a very, very, very large company. So when you think about it, even at GE, what's going on? If you think about it, GE had lost its way. It was taking on very esoteric projects like digital transformation and all kinds of other stuff, right? And then you had the new CEO come on board from Danaher, and he literally said, no, what GE needs to be is we become too complicated. We need to simplify. We're going to take portions of GE, we're going to spin it out. We're not going to be a financial company. We are an industrial company. And he focused the company on solving clear customer problems, right? We got to make better jet engines. We got to make better this. And through that, you are seeing GE's revival. So again, the people who make it to the top are the ones who very clearly recognize the strengths and limitations of the company that they're in and what the customer is really looking for, and relentlessly focus on that. And as part of that, they then grow through and are given more and more of an opportunity to be at the top. I mean, it happens, as I said, in every business. Microsoft is another company. To some extent, they had lost their way a little bit. They were, dabbling. They were trying to buy, phone system or phones because they were trying to compete with Apple. They were in basically desktop. They had gotten into cloud, but not in a big way. And then you bring in somebody like Nadella, and like a laser, he just focused the company. He says, okay, number one, we're going to be a cloud company. We're cloud first. Everything else will subsume, and over time, everything is going to evolve in that direction. And then he made the bet on Chat GPT and said, all right, we're now going to go into AI. But if you think about it, that fundamental change is Nadella recognizing his customers were going to the cloud and Microsoft wasn't keeping up. And so he fundamentally shifted Microsoft's focus to cloud and was recognized for it, and then moved up the ranks.